I am inviting you to really become conscious of when you feel unfulfilled or feel like numbing out. You are listening to Turn Your Soul On Radio. I am your host and visionary doctor, Dr. Brandy Victory, and my mission is to assist high-achieving women in closing the gap between feeling unfulfilled to living a life on fire. It is time, ladies, to champion our own lives and turn ourselves on. This is Living Victoriously, ladies. This is how you turn your soul on. Hello, you bright, beautiful spirits. I am so happy to be with you here today. I had this really cool experience that I just had to jump on here and tell you about. I don't know, last time when we talked about unfulfillment and how that may show up in your life. And I just, this was 2 nights ago actually when this happened. And I was at home alone and I went to the refrigerator and I opened the door and I was like, oh, okay, what am I going to eat? Oh, well, I don't know. Didn't really find anything I wanted, right? You know that feeling where you go and you look and there's nothing there. And then I was just like, okay, went off and did something else and I come back. I mean, just like, who knows, probably within a minute or 2 minutes. Who even knows? And I was back with my head in the refrigerator and looking for something to eat, still not finding anything, shutting the door, walking off, doing something, coming back. And I swear to you, I probably did this 5 times, right? So like on the 5th time, I'm sitting there with my head in the refrigerator, wondering what I'm going to eat, getting frustrated because I can't find anything. And it dawned on me that I was feeling unfulfilled. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling unfulfilled. Here it is right here. It's just so amazing to me how the work just shows up in my life. Like the messages that come through me are also gifts for myself, right? So that last podcast, it's just so interesting, right? Because we talked about unfulfillment and how that may show up, and maybe that's food is your thing. I know it really used to be my thing. Clearly, it's still my thing, right? Excuse me, but I had the wherewithal to catch it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm feeling unfulfilled. Well, clearly, I'm not gonna find the food or anything for that matter in the refrigerator to fulfill myself, because what I am feeling unfulfilled around has nothing to do with food. I was just confused in a moment of sleepiness and non-awakeness that it might just be in there. And so when I woke up and said, oh boy, I'm feeling unfulfilled. That's what this feeling is. That's why I don't find what I'm looking for in the refrigerator. I had the opportunity to make another choice. And these are the conversations that I'm just so happy having with you, because it's always an invitation, right, to look at how am I showing up and what are my actions actually a result of? Are my actions actually a result of helping me move forward in the world, helping me be a brighter, bigger spirit on the planet, helping me be a better leader, teacher, doctor, or are my actions causing me to numb out, disconnect, disengage, close down? And what if you could find that moment where you're starting to close down, disconnect, and disengage? What if you could just turn it around? What if you had that wherewithal where you're like, oh, this is a feeling of unfulfillment. Maybe I'll do something else. And I was so excited to have that moment because I was like, oh, no, okay. I shut the refrigerator, of course. I didn't eat anything. I was just like, okay, well, what am I going to do? And I went and cleaned out a cabinet. I've spoken of this cabinet before. I think when we talked about tolerations, there was an exercise that I gave you a few episodes back where tolerations. I invited you to write down 100 tolerations in your life. Now, 100 is a hard thing to get to, but I highly encourage you to do it. Like, get to the 100. Even if you get to like 70 and you're like, oh, that's all I have. Don't do that to yourself. Like, make yourself be in the fire of that and make yourself look for it. Because when you look for it, you're going to start to find it. I found 100. It took me a few days, but I found 100. And on that list was that cabinet, that crazy little cabinet. I just put papers in it. when I don't know what else I'm going to do with all my stuff. I don't want to carry it all around. So I just throw it in this little cabinet, right? And I'll get to it later kind of pile. And anyway, I got that all cleaned out and it felt so good. Not only was I like organizing my space and making more room for myself energetically, I was also allowing better flow, and I was also getting myself juiced up because I was being creative. So I felt like, being creative in the way of creating a pretty experience in the cabinet and putting things in really pretty file folders. And, so now it's all organized. It's so beautiful. And it literally turned me on. Like I was like, yeah, I feel so good. I was all done with that. And then I went on. I just went straight on to my gym bag because I had the next day, yesterday, it was the day I go to the gym and I go to work. It's a long day at work. And I just went ahead and started organizing my gym bag and then organizing my work bag. And like everything was so organized in my life. I was ready to go. The next morning I got up, all I had to do was put my food together, pack my lunch bag, and all my bags were ready to go out the door. It was just a wonderful experience. And I'm sharing that with you because it was the opportunity, I guess it was really the recognition that I was going off on a tangent, looking to fulfill myself from somewhere. And I recognize that, I'm feeling unfulfilled. So what can I do to shift that feeling within myself? I don't know that cleaning out a cabinet sounds all that fulfilling to most people. However, it was fulfilling to me in one way because it was on my tolerations list. And so I went back and I actually looked at my tolerations list, and I've done like over 25% of the things that are on my tolerations list are now checked off. And I did not actually consciously look at my list and go, okay, I'm going to take care of this one today. And then I'm going to take care of this one today. And I'm going to take care of this one today. It did not happen like that. All right. I wrote those 100 down. And literally when I got to 100, I put the exercise away and didn't look at it again. And I just recently opened it up and I was looking, I was like, I did that. I did that. I did that. I did that. Oh my God. So yeah. So like literally 25% or more of the things on my toleration list were done without me even thinking about it. All right. So this is the beauty of writing this kind of stuff down. You can write it down, you get it out of your head, because when it's in your head, you're always thinking about, I need to fix that shoe, or I need to sew that button back on, or it's always back there. And if you write it down on a piece of paper and just literally get it out of your head, then it's not back there just kind of chewing at you. So that also puts it out into the universe, and the universe responds, and it guides you to get these things off your list, because you don't want to be tolerating things. You want to be living a large, juicy life, not just tolerating life. So yes, another invitation to write that list if you haven't done it. If you have, I would love to know how it's going for you. So did you get it to 100? And then if you go back and look at your tolerations list, are there actually, how much of it have you already done without even thinking about it? I would love to know that. Please, you can write that in a review here, or you can go on to my private Facebook group, Turn Your Soul On, and we can chat about it there, because we're going to be talking about this exercise for sure. It's a very big one. All right, ladies. Okay, so since we're coming up on the Thanksgiving holiday, I am inviting you to really become conscious of when you feel unfulfilled or feel like numbing out. So it's so easy during the holiday season, especially when we've got family around that we have hard, we don't necessarily jive with. It's so easy to numb out. Or especially if you feel like you're alone, maybe you want to numb out. I know some women who don't have families here are feeling alone. However, those women are also doing things like we're doing. We're having a Friendsgiving. We don't really get to see our family at Thanksgiving because my family's in Texas, Roger's family's in California, and we've done our travels for the year, so we're spending Thanksgiving here. And we have some really good friends that we're going to spend with. So we're having a Friendsgiving. I'm so excited. I can't wait. These people inspire both of us in every single way of our lives. And I just feel so blessed to be able to hang out and connect with our friends in this way and light each other's worlds on fire, because that's what it's all about. And so I'm going to invite you to do the same, regardless if you are with your family or with friends, or even if you're with yourself. How are you going to light yourself up? How are you going to bring an element of joy and gratitude and fun and creativity and thankfulness all to your experience and to the experience of those you're around? And if you find yourself getting to that place where you're feeling unfulfilled or you want to numb out, let's think of another thing for you to do. So you may have the situation where you can't really get away. You're with your family, you're traveling around, you're all in the car together, you're all sitting around the table together, whatever it is. So one of the things that I do, if I feel like I'm in an experience where I can't get away from the people that are causing me angst, and sometimes that seriously happens to me, I get all upset, probably because moreover, I'm upset about the things that I'm not doing. And then this is just topping it off because we're not in a complete aligned vibrationally a good aligned vibrational match. And so this has worked for me so well. Okay. So this is a little secret from Dr. Brandy. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to get some earbuds for your phone. Okay. And you're going to find some soothing music or something like Mozart or Beethoven, which is actually works on your nervous system in a really positive way. Or you can even go on YouTube and download a meditation. My personals right now are anything by Dr. Joe Dispenza that he's put out is just so phenomenal. The guy is just on mark. And so what you do is you put one earbud in your ear underneath your clothes, put it up underneath your clothes and put one in your ear, and put it in the ear that's mostly not towards people, so people don't naturally see that you're listening to something and not paying attention to them, because it's not really like that. What you're doing is you're putting one earbud in and you're playing something positive or uplifting or meditative so that your mind can continue to be entrained in that vibrational frequency and not so easily pulled off course into the dysfunctional state of mind that sometimes happens when you're around those certain people. All right. I've done this a few times actually, and it's worked really, really well. Especially if I'm in a car, it's so easy because you can put it in the earbud that's not tilted towards anyone, so no one actually sees it. And you can literally sit there and meditate with your eyes open in the car while everybody else is just talking away, and you can still stay up on the conversation, but your responses can be mindful and can be put in at appropriate times, so people still feel you're part of the conversation, but you're not being drawn into the drama or the funkiness or the energetics of that conversation. If those kinds of conversations bring you down, it's just all about maintaining your own personal space, right? So this is one of my favorite things to do. Another thing that I like to do is I like to keep myself busy yet engaged with the group. And the best way that I've found to do that is to cook something. And I like to try to cook things. Well, I don't even try. I do. Here's what I do. I cook things that are healthy but taste freaking awesome. I have this wonderful little recipe, and it's like a chocolate lava cake recipe, and I love that thing. I'm telling you what, and it's so easy to make, and everybody loves it, and no one even knows it's healthy. It's completely gluten-free. There's no flour in it at all, and it's sweetened with coconut sugar or maple syrup. And so, putting something together like that causes you to be a little bit creative in the kitchen, and you're going to be able to share it with everyone else, and everybody else is going to really enjoy it, can lift not only your spirits, but it lift the spirit of the group as well. All right. Now, if it comes down to just feeling unfulfilled, I know we talked a little bit about this, but I want you to kind of pay attention to what you tend to gravitate towards when that happens. Okay. So for me, food is a thing. I thought I was over it until last night or the night before. I don't guess I'm over it. Food is my greatest teacher and always probably will be. So it's giving me a lesson right now, right? And what I used to do is I would gravitate towards like Ben and Jerry's or Oreo cookies or Skittles or Sweet Tarts, or just maybe donuts from the grocery store. Not even great donuts, like donuts from the grocery store. Like I would just grab whatever, and then I would grab something else to go with it, and maybe I'd have 2 or 3 things, and I would just be drowning myself in sugar and carbohydrates. And I don't really do that anymore. But I want you to take a real strong look, because this is what I had to do so that I could overcome that. Now, I'm not saying I don't have days where I go off and I'm like, oh, I got to have something. I did have something recently, as a matter of fact, and I don't know if you've seen them, but they're these wonderful little drinks called Rebbl, and they're really high quality, and they're dairy free, and I think it's coconut sugar that's in there. Look, I'm actually looking at one right now. We've got organic coconut milk, we've got organic forest honey, and organic acacia fiber, organic turmeric, ginger, vanilla, cardamom, cinnamon, and black pepper, and stevia. So this one is actually sweetened with honey and stevia, and this is the golden milk. My personal favorite is the mocha. It's like chocolate. Their chocolate milk is really good too, but it's all dairy free. And yeah, you're not going to spend $1 on it. It's kind of a little bit more pricey thing, but when I do that, if I'm gonna go give myself a treat like that, I want to go for something that's going to make me feel good. It's, first of all, I'm not going to like numb myself out and drown myself in carbohydrates. Now I'm going to just nourish myself with something that's going to make me feel good. So when you're putting things in your body like turmeric and coconut milk and honey and ginger and those kinds of things, then you're going to feel better than you would if you were going for Sweet Tarts, Oreos, Ben and Jerry's. When I was in the throes of my obsessive compulsive disorder with food and all that stuff, and the depression and the horrific experience that I had, I would go for foods that tasted good, but they didn't really fulfill me ever. All right. So when I drink one of these Rebbl drinks, I feel really good. I feel fulfilled. I feel yummy. Not that we should be looking for fulfillment from our food outside of ourselves, but sometimes we do get into a place where we're like, I'm just going to eat something. And what I'm doing is inviting you to choose something that's going to support your well-being as opposed to bring you down. Okay. The Rebbl drinks bring my well-being up. I can feel my vibration rise up, and I don't sit around for hours on end stuffing my face with donuts and Ben and Jerry's. All right, that's not happening. I'm drinking a freaking Rebbl drink, okay, and it's all good, high quality ingredients. So yeah, in order to do that, you typically need to go scout out some really cool places where you can get those kinds of snacks. All right, you can't just necessarily get a Rebbl shake at Safeway. All right. I get this from Whole Foods, or I can get this from a place called Natural Grocers, which is more of a natural kind of grocery store, more local grocery store. And I believe they have them at another local grocery store we have called Lucky's. I'm not sure that they're in the King Supers or any of the bigger grocery stores yet, but you can find stuff like that at some of those bigger grocery stores. You just have to kind of look and see what you can go for. Although I have to say, I did a few months ago, I was wanting some chocolate milk so bad. It was kind of like my late night snack when I get like that. I want to go for a chocolate milk, and I don't really do dairy. It just doesn't. It causes inflammation in my body, and I don't like the way that feels, so I avoid it. So I don't just go get a regular old chocolate milk, which I would love to do, but I don't. I go for something like the Rebbl or an almond chocolate milk. That now Silk makes an almond chocolate milk that's really good. It's the dark chocolate. You should try it. But there is, I think, evaporated cane juice in that one, so be careful, because I just swallowed a bunch of it all at once when I went down the tubes, but it still didn't make me feel as bad as dairy would have made me feel. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because there's levels, right? You can choose the color, the artificial color infested, chemical infested, diet drink, diet, artificial sweetener infested, whatever your kind of MO is. And you can choose to not do that, and you can choose to make a different choice. And what I'm here to tell you is that the more you make a new choice, the more you just keep going with those choices, the better you're going to feel, and the less propensity you're going to have to go off the deep end and just sit around all night eating Ben & Jerry's donuts and drinking chocolate milk. Okay? It just doesn't really happen. Like, I go for a sweet now, I get 1 or 2 little things, and that's it. I don't have to keep eating all night because the food that I'm eating now is nourishing my body. All right? So that is an invitation for you. So go out, find yourself a cool little place where you can get some either like locally made foods with good ingredients, and make sure that you're trying to stay, gluten-free. I'm not saying gluten's bad for everyone, but the more you can stay gluten-free or stay off the wheat and grains, and the more you can stay off the dairy, and the more you can stay off the processed sugar and alcohol, the better you're going to feel. And there are so many options out there for you right now in the realm of this kind of eating. Like, they're even at Costco. I have a patient of mine, she texts me almost every week some new treat that she's found at Costco that aligns with her style of eating. Now that we've been working together, she's shifted her lifestyle quite a bit around her food. And it's so fun to see her engaged and really, doing the, investigating and looking at her labels and finding stuff that nourishes her body. So yeah, another invitation to you to nourish your body. All right, ladies, I'm going to leave you with that. I want you to have the most fantastic, superb, present, beautiful, brilliant, loving Thanksgiving this year. And I will talk with you as soon as we return. And whatever it takes, turn yourself on. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Turn Your Soul On Radio. Go ahead and subscribe below. And if you feel it's worthy of a 5-star review, I'd greatly appreciate your support in this way. If you'd like to go deeper with me, you're welcome to join our private Facebook group, Turn Your Soul On, or take it to a whole nother level and apply for my 4-month Turn Your Soul On Masterclass. You're welcome to do this at drbrandyvictory.com. Whatever you do, turn your soul on.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Dr. Brandy Victory is not a medical doctor, and the views and statements expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Dr. Brandy Victory and the producers, disclaim responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.